Howdy! Here we are back at level O, but now we are looking at our spheres of awareness, spheres of attention, spheres of perception. So our first was breath, and so we practiced breath and paying attention to our breath. Next, we focused on our base, and then next we focused on our center. Each one of those is a different sphere of attention. On top of that, we have a sphere of attention that's the attention to our hands, the sensation, how it feels when we're exploring our near sphere. And that sensation, that's another sphere of attention where we're keeping in mind, is our sphere clear? My sphere is not fully clear. I've got a tree in my sphere here, but that's all right. I can work with this tree being in my sphere because I'm aware that it's in my sphere. So I'm working with that, because this is the space that I have to work with. And by now you're familiar with O hands, yeah? We're paying attention to all of these different spheres of attention that we're juggling. And the more that we've been practicing, the easier it becomes to recognize when we've dropped a ball and pick it back up again. There's our greater environment as well. We can't always control what's going on. Most of the time we can't control what's going on in our greater environment, like when a plane goes by. Since my environment to record in is nature, I have to adapt to what's happening in my greater environment. If I hit pause every time or stopped every time and restarted the video every time a plane flew by, I would never get this accomplished. So I had to learn to adapt and accept that sometimes planes will fly by. And that's out of my control. What can I control is what am I doing? Which is continuing on and doing my thing, practicing my aim, paying attention to my feet. So I know that my base is stable, checking in with my breath. So I know I'm breathing through my nostrils and filtering. I'm also breathing slowly so my nervous system recognizes that I'm safe. I'm aware of my center and how my center supports my body. And not only how does my center support my body, but how it supports the motion of the extensions off of my body. And recognizing that when I move my arms, I'm also working the muscles in my center. When I move my legs, I'm also engaging the muscles in my center. And so when we're doing it all together, we're engaging the whole body. We're mobilizing everything. Gently. Because that's how we can pay attention to how it feels as we're exploring our spheres. Our near sphere between ourselves and the ends of our fingers. And all the different ways that we can move through space. We can follow our horizontal planes. We can follow vertical planes. We can go for diagonals. And as we're maintaining these planes, we're following the motion with our entire bodies. And paying attention to how it feels as we're moving through space, so that we adjust and adapt as needed. That's another sphere of attention that we're juggling. How does it feel? Learning to be in tune with our bodies and recognize what they're feeling so that we can adjust and adapt accordingly while still maintaining aware and in tune of our greater environments is good. It's a good practice to have. And it requires practice. It's not necessarily something that comes easily to everyone. Some people perhaps, maybe, but I think in many cases it comes down to practice. The more we practice paying attention to what our bodies are communicating, as well as paying attention to our environments and being able to process that information and do what needs doing, is an important practice to practice. So EIM is a simple way to tap into those things, to give us a chance to think about those things and pay attention to those things in a way that when we're in the real life and real world, when we have to adapt to the challenges that are coming at us, we may not have the time to think about or process. And that's okay, because we don't need to think about it or process it. It's more about just do, right? Adapt to life. We're all improvising. We're all improvising our ways through life. We're adapting to the changes in our environments. We're adapting to the things that we can control and things that we can't control. We can choose to set parameters, guidelines for how we navigate through life. I find that having parameters and guidelines maybe facilitates the process of making choices. It helps narrow things down for us. So I choose to ensure that I have no choice but to be kind. There's no choice in that part. Kindness is absolutely necessary. But within the kind choices, there's a multitude of choices. There's a multitude of paths that we can follow that are held within the construct of kindness and respect and love. And if we choose to eliminate the other paths that don't include kindness, respect, and love, it may be easier to narrow down the way that we want to follow that path of kindness, respect, and love, because there are so many ways then to explore within those parameters. The same way that EIM limits us, our level 0, 1, 2, are stationary spheres. I'm changing my foundation, I'm changing my base, my orientation more, which we can do by this point because you've been practicing all the levels, so it's fine. It's fine. I trust that you know what to do, but overall, we're here. We're stable. We're stationary, so that we get that sense and feeling for all of those things, all those balls, all those spheres that we're juggling. Think about it. And now we can think about it, really. We've been practicing all these other levels so much that we can think about it and practice trusting that our bodies know how to juggle these spheres. And not only do they know how to juggle these spheres, they know how to recognize when the ball's been dropped and then easily pick it back up again. Attention and intention, learning to focus it. It's part of the ride. And you can do your EIM however you choose to, however you want to, at your pace, at your speed. Every day is different. It doesn't have to be the same. We're just exploring. We're exploring space in our spheres as kindly as we can, paying attention to if and when our body protests and says, I don't like that, and making the necessary change. Because that is also another sphere of awareness that we're juggling, is that attention to the body and its communications. Spheres within spheres, really. And so there we are. for today's level O, with our focus on our spheres of attention, spheres of awareness, spheres of perception. Thank you. And level 1 coming at you in a few, whenever you do. I don't know. You do you.